We went for a camp meeting and a senior minister was preaching the gospel, and he said they were born into a diabolical family. The god that the father worshipped was one of the deities of the river. So when a child is born, they take the child before the deity, and the priest will offer sacrifices, and the spirit will come and bear witness. I said, okay, this one is going to stay by the altar. So when his elder brother was born, they took him to, I hope you know the authority that the father is using to do that is the authority called headship. So he brought this guy. That's the elder brother of this preacher, was brought to the oracle. When they brought him to the oracle, the spirit came and possessed the priest, and the priest said, this one will stay before the altar. So they separated him. He didn't go to primary school, didn't go to secondary school, didn't go to the university. He was separated straight to the altar. Began to learn the language of incantation, began to learn the language of divination, and started developing spiritual knowledge around that water deity. When they gave birth to him, they brought him to the shrine. Then the spirit possessed the priest, and the priest said, no, this one, allow this one to do anything that he feels like doing. That was why they allowed him. He went to primary school, he went to secondary school. Somewhere along the line in secondary school, he gave his life to Christ. And the reason why the father did not fight him was because the oracle said, allow him do whatever he wants. He became a mighty preacher, but he knew that the headship that was in his family was against the kind of dedication that he had to God. I said I was led to do this teaching. There's, whether you like it or not, as modern as we try to make ourselves, there is something called the altar of your father's house. And I'm not saying this by terminology. I will show you from the Bible, and I will show you what that altar did to people. So this preacher, he had raised an altar for the Lord, but yes, there was an altar of darkness that was in his family. It is possible for you to gain some mileage when there is this darkness in your family, because the darkness feeds from the principle of headship. At some point, you will need to do damage to this system. If not, this system has the ability to limit you from becoming everything that God wants you to be. And I'm going to show you how God dealt with men that were raised in families that had those altars, and the altars were managed by people that had the right of headship. There were information, strategic informations that God made available to them, and strategic directions and directives that they received in combating such a situation. Because the thing about the matter here is that the headship is legitimate. Headship is not from the devil. Headship was instituted by God. Just like marriage is not from the devil. Marriage was instituted by God. It's God's idea, not man's idea. So God himself recognizes headship. But headship can be wielded in a fashion that it becomes an object of injury. How do you survive in such cases? I have some matters that I want us to investigate. And the reason for the investigation is to